I'll tell you, it's great to see Rick and Robert back together, and that's why you know why they've been one of the great tag teams and still are. When they come around your way, you get out there and greet them and say hi to the Rock and Roll Express, David.
They're terrific. Also coming up today, something terrific, a USWA heavyweight title match. Brian Christopher will be going against Doug Gilbert just a few minutes from right now.
Small package, dynamite gal, talking about Miss Texas. Here's a look you maybe haven't seen of her.
Special look at Miss. Tell you what, somebody that's got a match scheduled with Miss Texas coming up in just a few days.
Wait, y'all get that ugly, disgusting video? I can't believe y'all would show some crap, some disgusting, insane junk like that. I thought that I ran that cheese out of Memphis a long time ago. I hate trash, and I'm going to get rid of it the best way I know how, and that's stacking it up. Miss Texas, nobody wants you. No man wants you. You don't even have a boyfriend. You know what you need? You need to be delivered to Texas or somewhere other than Memphis, because you have no home here. You need to get out of Memphis. And what I'm going to do is give you a piece of what you deserve, and that's heaven on earth. And I tell you what, you people that's supporting her over here, Miss Texas is nothing. She's garbage.
Not happy at all over the video that we're showing here. They've got to face each other in a match coming up here later on this week. Sweet Georgia Brown, wherever it might be, she's looking for Miss Texas. I guarantee you what, Miss Texas be looking for her. Let's go to the ring for this match. Here's Corey.
Okay, Davey, we're ready to go with it. This is just the opening bout of a star of a big day of USWA wrestling action. One fall, 10-minute time limit. First introducing a combined weight, 409 pounds, from Memphis, Tennessee, Ken Riper, and his partner from Cordova, Tennessee, Tony Williams. Their opponents at a combined weight of 547 pounds. First introducing from Greasy Corner, Arkansas, Outlaw Don Bass. And his partner says he's from every woman's dream, along with Sweet Georgia Brown, Reggie B. Fine. Kevin Christian is your referee. Back to Lance Russell, Dave Brown.
Okay, Kevin Christian is the referee, and he may have some refereeing to do with Reggie B. and the Outlaw Don Bass. Man, you had a wildcat in that Sweet Georgia Brown.
I tell you what, she didn't want to talk about anything too much except how angry she was that Miss Texas was still around the USWA. Said she had her match with her in Memphis, and she thought you ran her out of Memphis. Well, I don't think she did, and she didn't run her out of Louisville, Nashville, Evansville, a lot of other cities I could name.
Well, she may not have run that, but she sure ran that mile. Boy, she was giving you a fit. Whoa.
She was not happy.
Reggie taking a hard right from Ken Raper. Yeah, he did. Popped him. No question about it. Tony Williams, Ken Raper, Reggie B. and Don Bass tied up, collar and elbow, center of the ring. And reversal on the scoop slam by Raper.
Great move by Raper. He blocked Reggie and reversed it on him, so it's Reggie that hits the mat, and Reggie can think of nothing else after being embarrassed, so he goes to the referee and says, hey, he must have pulled my tights. I don't believe he could have done that otherwise.
Gee, that's the first time I've ever seen Reggie do that.
Reggie B, my goodness.
Tying it off. Raper taking the arm around into a hammer, trying to get a good grip on him, because that's a big arm. I got to tell you, we sometimes want to make fun of Reggie because he's always doing something out of the ordinary, and yet you got to admit, this guy physically, he's got it. He had that arm of Raper's. Look at him go. Raper forcing him to get right down to it and wrestle on that mat. Raper going in for a single leg. Reggie standing up. I was expecting to see him pull back that fist, but instead he rakes him in the eyes, holds him, and passes it off to Don Bass.
He had a handful of hair, so does Don Bass as he slams Ken Raper into the turnbuckle. It's the turnbuckle where Tony Williams is, though. Tony takes a tag but does not fare well as Don Bass got him in the throat.
Sweet Georgia Brown, just in passing, grabs the leg, hits him, and what a drop kick from Tony. Got Big Reggie, who reverses the whip. Shoulder puts him back down, and Williams tripped up by Sweet Georgia Brown. Referee over with Don Bass, turns around 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
Well, you got to give Georgia Brown an assist out here, and she was a presence to be reckoned with in the corner all the way, and certainly there at the end. Tony Williams got his feet taken out from under him, and they were able to hold him down for a 3 count. So it's going to be a victory for Don Bass, Reggie B. Fine, and Sweet Georgia Brown.
Yeah, perfect example, Dave, of how one little thing like that, you saw how quick it ended up. They took advantage of it. I'll grant them that. She dumped him down, and Reggie B. got right on top and cradled up for the 1, 2, 3. If we can get that out from under, we're going to go out here and hear from another voice that was mentioned one way or the other, talking about a lady who has made her presence known. And if you don't believe it, ask Scott Bowden. He'll tell you how tough she is. Well, he probably won't, but he should tell you how tough she is. Talking about Miss Texas, who, Sweet Georgia Brown, was out here. I had the big feeling, Dave, that she was looking at that video in there. She was feeling jealousy, just blooming out all. That's what all that mouth running about sounded like to me when she was out here.
Right. Kind of won her own video.
Yeah. She wishes, I can guarantee you that. Later today, it's going to be the championship match with Brian Christopher and Doug Gilbert scheduled in here. And here she comes right now, Miss Texas. I want to get her comments if she had a chance to see Sweet Georgia Brown. I believe her dander is up a little bit there, Miss Texas. She was out here really bad-mouthing you.
You know, Lance, every time you look around, somebody downing Miss Texas or running down USWA. Sweet Georgia Brown, you couldn't beat me on my worst day. You talk about me not having a man. Well, you must be pretty desperate to have a man, to have Reggie B. Fine for one.
I hear that. She got one, but you question the caliber of the man that she's got, huh?
See, Sweet Georgia Brown, you want to fight, then you got to fight.
All right, hey, now. Whoa.
We don't talk about desperate. You're the one desperate. Don't have a man, don't have a life. You're a low life that should have been elementary a long time ago. I don't even know what you
All right, now, come on. Whoa, going at it. Sweet Georgia Brown, Miss Texas, down here. Come on, ladies. save it for the ring. Here comes Don Bass, Reggie B. I know they're going to be impartial. Just get it separated. All right. Sweet Georgia Brown with him. Come on, Don. Quit that kind of stuff. Little help on the way as Bill Dundee and PG-13 comes out here. Well, they found out one way to get to Miss Texas.
Sweet Georgia Brown, you want to fight? You got to fight. You better get ready for old-fashioned butt kicking.
I'll tell you what, that little lady backs up a lot of what she says, so I can tell you, Georgia Brown, you better ready to get in there and do it the hard way, because she is flat coming after you after that kind. Had two of them, one on each arm holding her, so she slapped her around. Man, I can tell you what. Whoa. Yeah, I guess that's a good idea. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Yes, sir. We've got the superstar, Bill Dundee, coming up in action here in just a moment. And don't forget, we've got that heavyweight title match. It will be right here on USWA Wrestling in just a little bit. Coming out right now. He's had some personal acquaintance with Miss Texas. Thank you.
You know, Lance Russell, my temper is just like Bill Dundee's body. It's very, very short. And for the last few weeks, Bill Dundee has embarrassed me. And I'm from Germantown, baby. You don't embarrass somebody like myself. And I was going to bring in somebody last week, a mystery partner, to take care of Dundee. And I was going to fly him in on my Learjet, but I made the mistake of trusting the airlines. And due to an airline screw-up, he was unable to make it. And a lesser man probably would have backed out of the match. But that's not my style, baby. I went in there, and I gave Dundee everything I had, but I just came up a little bit short. But I promise you, this week, he will be here. Dundee comes out going, Scott Bowden, you don't have any friends. Well, baby, I got the best friends money can buy, and I got the biggest and the baddest coming in. It's just like in college football. My Uncle Bobby, he's the biggest lineman he can find to catch those cute little quarterbacks that are running around. You know what I'm saying, Lance Russell?
I hear you.
And when he finally catches you this week, Dundee, he's going to squash you like the cockroach that you are, baby. I can promise you that. You're going to wind up in some seedy lounge downtown doing Elvis impersonations after he gets through with you, baby. I promise you, the biggest and the baddest is coming for you this week, Dundee.
Well, you've had enough unusual matches yourself. You ought to be an expert on a lot of different things. Dog food matches, diaper matches, and so forth. Let's go to the ring right now for our next match, and Corey.
All right, Lancer, we're ready for it. One fall, 10-minute time limit. First introducing 245 pounds, wrestling from Jackson, Tennessee. Here is Jesse Hickerson. His opponent today, 205 pounds. From the land down under Australia, the superstar, Bill Dundee. One fall, 10-minute time limit. Kevin Christian, your referee for this.
Well, the superstar arrives, greets the crowd on his way to the ring, steps up in there, and referee Kevin Christian is waiting for the warm-up jacket to come off. He'll give us a signal. We will be underway with this match. Keep in mind, coming up later on today, you'll see Sid Vicious. You'll also see a USWA title match, Brian Christopher against Doug Gilbert. But meanwhile, look at the superstar in action.
He's going to have a surprising awakening here is Jesse Hickerson, because he looks across the ring and he sees not the tallest wrestler he's ever faced, and he figures, oh, easy day today. Wrong.
Bad wrong.
Pound for pound, one of the meanest, toughest guys you'll see around, the superstar, Bill Dundee. Hooks that arm into a hammer, rolls it up behind, and he's already stretching.
He's got him in trouble, no doubt about it. The referee is right there checking with him to see if Jesse wanted to give it up on a submission. And he did not. Bill Dundee with a cover, count of 2, almost a 3, but Jesse kicks out of it at the last second.
Jesse caught in that front chancery right there as Dundee really pulling up on it. Now there's a classic textbook of the way it should be applied. He's across that jawbone, and he is really ripping the face up, and he did just that. Turned him over and pounded down on Jesse Hickerson. Yeah, Jesse will be a better man for this. He may not believe it, but he'd be a better man for it, Davey. Spinning leg lock.
He will indeed. When you're going against a tough veteran, yeah, you can learn a lot from the veteran, but sometimes it's not the most pleasant learning experience you've ever had. That certainly looks to be the case. And Jesse Hickerson here today. Bill Dundee rapping on that toe hold, twisting it around. That puts the pressure on the knee. You see Jesse grabbing a knee. Ooh, kind of what I used to call a jackknife. He just pops it, and that leg flops back over. It hurts.
You know, every time I see that outside toe hold like that, I make the same comment. I think that is the most painful thing in the world when that toe goes out and it's all right on that knee. Good elbow on the first really offensive effort of any magnitude that Jesse Hickerson has been able to mount, and right away he went in too quick and he ran into that foot of Dundee, and Dundee with an elbow puts him down on the mat, picks him up, slams him down. Billy heading over to the ladder, makes the climb up the rope from the top, drops down right across Jesse, count of 1, 2, 3, and gives Dundee the win. Billy with a good victory over Jesse Hickerson, showing him what he's made of.
Oh, you're right. Good match there. Don't forget the title match coming up in just a few minutes. Brian Christopher against Doug Gilbert. There's lots more to come, too.
We got it, and we'll be to it. What a dandy match coming up. It's one of those things we love when it happens.
Absolutely. The USWA heavyweight title on the line right here today. Very, very important belt for lots and lots of reasons. And a man who has held that belt right here, and Doug Gilbert headed this way, along with Scott Bowden. He'll be trying to take it away from Brian Christopher.
Russell, why don't you get up here and ask me who Brian Christopher's overlooking? Who Brian Christopher's overlooking, Lance Russell, is no other than Dangerous Doug Gilbert. You can put all your sights on Big Sid Vicious. But what's going to happen right now is I'm supposed to get in the ring, and I'm going to take my USWA.
That is why we came, as a matter of fact, young Doug Gilbert. We'll see it. Let's go to Corey in the introduction.
Okay, Lance, we're ready for special television time. 1 fall, 30-minute time limit, USWA heavyweight title bout. First introducing the challenger, 238 pounds, wrestling from Lexington, Tennessee, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, with Scott Bowden. His opponent, the USWA heavyweight champion, at a weight of 222 pounds, from Memphis, Tennessee, here is Too Sexy, Brian Christopher. This is a sanctioned USWA heavyweight title bout. Special television time, 1 fall, 30-minute time limit, and Kevin Christian is the official referee. We're ready to go, Lance, today.
All right, title match about to get underway here. The USWA heavyweight title belt being handed to the referee by Brian Christopher. And the belt is on the line. Yeah, we know that, Doug. We've been talking about it being a title match all day long. Doug Gilbert. Oh, well, the crowd is expressing their feelings about Doug, and they are not what Doug would like to hear. They're not totally Doug fans, I don't believe.
And I think they do it even more because they know it gets under Doug's skin, and he may not think so, but that's not the best way in the world to start a match when your mind's distracted and you're upset, and Brian Christopher may make it pay off in a hurry.
Absolutely. Well, he's got a couple of scores to settle with Doug Gilbert anyway. Doug Gilbert has held his title. He wants it back. Brian Christopher has said in the past he almost considers it his title. It's a huge, important title that he won the first time, and he's been able to keep it a long time. Look at him go.
Big whip, and Brian catches Gilbert coming out of the turnbuckles and rattled him one to put him right down on the mat. Scott Bowden over to his main man, seeing him seated on the floor where he rolled out of that ring and stayed where he hit, Dave.
I'll take this and leave.
Oh, yeah, put the belt back over here.
Come on, Doug.
I'm going to do it the legal way, and I'm fixing to beat him out in the middle.
You got a 10 count to get back in there. You're going to lose it the legal way. You're going to be counted out. He's back in there. Doug saying he's going to win it legal. He claimed he was hit by a chain. He was not.
No.
There was no chain involved. Now, Brian's used a chain or two in the past, but then he did not.
They have had some real street fights between Christopher and Gilbert. We've seen them in the past. It's that old thing about oil and water. These guys, whoa, went to the slide between the legs, came up and wrapped him with a right hand, made no bones about it. And Gilbert, talking with Scott Bowden, Brian Christopher being an opportunist in the ring, and that's one of the reasons he's been so successful, when sliding across and put a foot up beside each one of their heads, dumped them right where they were.
Meeting adjourned. Brian Christopher waiting in the ring. Now look out, Doug Gilbert's trying to sneak around behind. Big week coming up for Brian here. Not only is he having to defend this title today, he's looking toward the unified world title coming up later on. Now, that's got to be tough. I know for champions, every match is a tough match coming up, but I don't know. Brian's has got two huge matches just days apart here.
Handed him something, I don't know what. Brian Christopher talking about Scott Bowden handing Gilbert something.
Brian Christopher hasn't even lost the match yet. He's already crying and making excuses. That's so Brian for you.
He's just trying to keep an eye on you. That's what he's doing, because we thought we saw Bowden slip something to Doug Gilbert. Gilbert just hollered something to Bowden. Get the referee. Sunset Flip! Turned it over on Gilbert. Christopher holding it. But the referee is over being distracted by Bowden. It did him no good. And now, Dave, he just went to the tights to Doug Gilbert.
He absolutely did. I think he hit Brian with whatever it was that Scott Bowden handed him in the ring, and he's gone to the tights again a time or two. Well, the referee's not going to find anything since he's got it in his mouth. It's likely a chain. Whatever it is, it's in his right fist right now.
Brian Christopher well aware of it, trying to point to the referee. Kevin Christian can't keep his eyes on the two combatants in there because Scott Bowden is distracting him all through this. Of course, that's part of Bowden's duties, I guess. Gilbert, a right to the midsection, a whip across the ring. Now he goes to the tights and rips Christopher with that loaded hand. I think it's more like not a roll of dimes, but a steel bar or something like that.
I think that's almost what it has to be. It is not a chain. I think we would have been able to see that. Whatever it is, it's been doing damage, as did that. Whoa.
Reverse atomic knee drop by Gilbert. Drops down on the back of the neck of Christopher with that forearm. Puts him down with a clothesline. And Brian Christopher, I hope he hadn't got his mind too far ahead to Sid Vicious, or he's going to lose it to a guy who is perfectly capable of winning it. He's done it before. Talking about Doug Gilbert, the whip. He goes down for the back drop and catches that spinning side kick from Brian Christopher. And once again, look at Bowden up on the ring edge.
As Doug Gilbert gets in trouble, Scott Bowden distracts the referee. Here's Sid Vicious out. He's in the ring. Referee still hasn't seen him. Oh, that throttle slam. He pops Brian down to the mat and leaves. The referee didn't see it happening. Bowden had him distracted all the way across the ring. Doug Gilbert already celebrating. He claimed, hey, my belt. He does pin the shoulders, counts at 1, 2, no reversal. 1, 2, 3. He got him. The belt stays with Brian Christopher.
You know, that old one, don't count the chickens before they cross the road or something like that. Well, that's what Doug Gilbert did. He already had that belt snapped around his waist. Unfortunately, he was about 1 count too early, Dave.
Yeah, Doug Gilbert wasted a good 8 or 10 count out here celebrating before he even went for the pin, and it cost him big time. He has no belt. The belt remains with Brian Christopher.
Back with more wrestling action in just a moment.
Here, first introducing a combined weight of 558 pounds, wrestling out of Jackson, Tennessee. Here are Bobby and Lee, the Hickersons. Their opponents today, 397 pounds at a combined weight, wrestling from the hood. J.C. Ice, Sir Wolfie D. Put your hands together for PG 13. Kevin Christian, your referee. We're ready with this one, fellas.
Here comes the I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area.
The boys from the hood. I'm looking at their headgear. You talking about diverse. J.C. Ice has got on that chimney sweep hat, and Wolfie D had on that knit cap now as they go through a little ceremony to begin with.
Looks like Bobby Ray Hickerson's going to be starting for their team. And JC for PG-13. This one ought to be a good one. These Hickersons are large.
I don't know a lot about them, but I can tell you one thing. They've got a wrestling name, Hickerson, because, of course, it brings to mind one of the toughest that we've seen around, and that's Big Bill. Whoa, Bobby Ray caught by a much smaller man, but he used his weight against him. And here comes Lee. Look at that beautiful move, Dave. See him scissor that leg as he came through the rope.
Big Lee headed for the ropes, and boom. Whoa, PG-13 both there. He didn't go down, so they picked him up and dropped him on the mat. Great teamwork by these guys.
They figured they needed one man on each leg to get that job done.
And they got it done, no doubt about it. Oh, look at this reversal. Big Lee picks up. Wolfie D swings, misses. Wolfie D comes right back at him.
And ripping another right hand. Wolfie D went back into the ropes, and Bobby Ray just put that knee right in the middle of his back. And Wolfie is in trouble.
Wolfie D finding himself in a bit of trouble here. Back into the ropes. Crowd behind him, off the ropes. Bobby Ray puts him down on the mat.
They do tag in and out well, the Hickersons. Whipped him in, turns him over with that slam, and J.C., Johnny on the spot. Legal or not, he broke the count as he picked up the big guy's leg and got him off of Wolfie D. They make the exchange, and Bobby Ray Hickerson right back in behind, putting the pressure up on that point just to the right. That's, you know, I always get that feeling when I see somebody grab, because I know how it is when somebody comes up and grabs you right in that spot. Your knees go weak.
That's true. He did the smart thing. Wolfie got over to the corner, got tagged. J.C. Ice in there. Wolfie's still in the ring. We've got all four of them in there. The Hickerson's doubling up. Wolfie D trying for the sunset. And he's got Bobby Hickerson on the mat. Count it 2. Only a 2 count.
Looked like he had him, but he missed that third count as the left shoulder came up first. Whipping the Hickersons into each other. Great drop kick immediately followed by J.C. Wolfie brings Bobby Ray up. And coming right off on top of him. J.C. Ice 1, 2, 3. He got him that time. PG-13.
They got the victory over a tough team here in the Hickersons, Lee and Bobby Ray. There's J.C. Ice. PG-13 can celebrate just a little bit, and I was hoping maybe we could get a chance to talk to them just a minute. They've headed back to the dressing room area. Let's see. Oh, well, Mike, coming from a different direction.
Oh, yeah, here comes a real thrill. Scott Bowden.
Scott Bowden with Doug Gilbert and Wildfire Tommy Rich.
You know, PG-13, you're the kind of punk that my mother used to warn me about. The kids from the wrong side of the tracks, you understand what I'm saying? Because every once in a while, they cross this track into our nice neighborhood and try to work out some of their frustrations on the rich kids. Well, I promise you two punks something. If you try to cross the tracks and come after this rich kid, you got to go through Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich first. You understand what I'm saying, baby? Dundee has never given Jamie Dundee anything. He's had to steal for everything he's ever gotten. He probably stole the hubcap off the doctor that delivered him. Well, let me tell you, two pieces of white trash, something. Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert are going to turn you into men this week, baby. I promise you that.
Well, PG-13 will have...
I don't know if you could do anything and turn them two idiots into men. But see what happens when everybody's against you and you're getting cheated from, you're getting robbed from, and they steal whatever it may be. What happened last week? They stole the USWA belt from Tommy Rich. What happened this week was I got cheated out of my chest. Tommy, come here. Tell them what is in store for what they've done to us.
Well, you know, boys, welcome to a man's world, and that's what it's all about. But, you know, I want to give you a little background on PG-13. What it amounts to, you're looking at two boys that don't even have no business. They come out here, crack them stupid jokes, and people over here laugh at them because they're about as illiterate as J.C. Ice and Wolfie D. Now, Jamie Dundee, the reason you got into professional wrestling, we all know. Bill Superstar Dundee come from overseas, from Australia to here, and he made a name for himself. Bill Dundee was a man. He's a legend here in this area. But you're not, Jamie Dundee. You're not half the man your old man is. And if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. Then you got Wolfie D, who rides around with Randy Hales and Eddie Marlin. He washes their car. You know, he's got his nose stuck, no telling where. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. Whether I disagree with it is...
And then I'm done, you know, they talk about the hubcaps. Well, I found out what that's about. You know, Wolfie D, his mama's an old hag, you know. And his daddy, the only way that Wolfie D can find his daddy is when he goes down to the street corner and he don't know which one his daddy's going to be standing there with his corn jar and begging for money.
Well, Jerry Brown, hold on a second. Let me tell you a little story. See, yeah, there's this little kid. He's called J.C. Ice, right? Well, everybody knows, little boy, who your daddy is and what your name is. Your name's Jamie Dundee, and you was raised right, Jamie Dundee. And see, your daddy had a whole lot of money. And he gives you, but you know what happened, Dave Brown? You know what happened to Jamie Dundee?
What?
He beat his poor old dad. See, Bill Dundee was a big legend around here for years and years. He beat Bill Dundee about senseless. And then, you know, you remember his poor old mom, Beverly Dundee, don't you, Dave Brown? You remember Beverly, the barn only woman?
I'm about getting sick and tired of all this story insulting people here.
You got to insult anybody no longer. See his old mama, Beverly Dundee, after he beat up his daddy was embarrassed, and he kicked her out. Well, Jamie Dundee, for what you've done. See, your mama, your old bald-headed, ugly mama, your stupid daddy, and everybody else in the hood, you think you're real.
Look out, David. PG-13 had all they could stand. And here they are, out here jumping on Gilbert and Rich, who had been out totally out of order, running their mouth in a direction they shouldn't have been. And now we're trying to get this brawl broken up. Randy Hale's out.
Randy's calling for more help if there's anybody watching a monitor.
Tony Williams out. And PG-13 absolutely furious. Tony Williams holding back Wolfie D. JC Ice, and here's Gilbert. And Rich saw a chance to get 2-on-1, and it ends up in another brawl right over by the fans. Partially separated. Rich is back out of it. Gilbert's back. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be back to it in just a moment. Well, I can't really say I blame the guys. PG-13 and Wolfie D and JC took all they could stand, and they had to get out here and get a piece of Rich and Gilbert.
You're right when you say that's all I could stand. You know, it's a crying shame when somebody comes out here and they have to resort to telling truths, Tommy Rich, talking about my mother, talking about where I came from. You want to give a history lesson? I'll give you a history lesson. Kelly Wolf, Wolfie D, he's all the same person. When you talk about Kelly Wolf's mother, you're talking about Wolfie D's mother. When you talk about that I came from the streets of Nashville, Tennessee, you're telling the truth, Tommy Rich, because anything I've ever had, I had to fight for it. You are very right. And if I couldn't buy it, I stole it, Tommy Rich. But that's who I am. When these cameras go off, I'm going to keep talking like this. When the cameras go off, I'm going to stay dressed like this. I'm going to do everything, and what you see right here is the same person that you're talking about, Tommy Rich. You want to get personal? You want to make me real mad, huh? I can come to the Coliseum, I can come to Louisville, I can come to Nashville, and I can beat your brains out, Tommy Rich. And Doug Gilbert, you've got me madder than I've ever been. Jamie, you need to tell him something.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you, Wolfie, with that kind of a lead into it because of what Gilbert and Rich had to say, and the same with you, Jamie.
Yeah, you see, Tommy Rich, you bleached blonde has-been. Let me tell you something, boy. Jamie Dundee is my name. Bill Dundee is my dad. And you're right, I may have been raised a little rich kid, but I didn't have a lot of money because Bill said, Jamie, if you want money, you got to get out and earn it because nobody gives you nothing in this world. So what I did is I went out and earned it, and like Wolfie said, if I didn't earn it, I took it. But Doug Gilbert, you come out here and talk about my mama, boy. Let me tell you something. My mama is the finest woman to ever be on this earth. And the reason that is because she gave birth to me, Jamie Dundee, Jamie Care Dundee, which means J.C. Ice. So what I'm telling you is for all the gold in the world, you can talk about my family, you can beat my kids, you can kick my dog, but if you ever speak about my mother again, Doug Gilbert, you will be a dead man.
Whoa, PG-13. We've got a standby match here. Let me check the time, and we'll be back with you and let you know in a minute. Well, I tell you, I just really can't blame J.C. and Wolfie for the attitude that they had about after Rich and Gilbert got out here and... Oh, will you guys get out of here? You think that's funny now, don't you?
I can't talk.
Come on, well, I wish you couldn't sometimes.
I'm not crying.
You're crying, too.
No.
That's so sad.
Come
But
on, Doug.
you know what it amounts to, Lance Russell? You get a man mad, and he's real easy to whip because he don't know what to do. Looks like we got him.
You're gonna find out, and you may not find out it's as easy as you think it is, They just may be turned up to where they can get pounded on and they won't even feel it. They'll be so mad.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt they are upset, and I bet you it's not going to be not near as easy as Tommy Rich thinks it is. I think they're going to be very focused on Rich and Gilbert, and they're going to go after them when they get in the ring in PG-13.
Boy, I'll tell you, they had all they could, a little bit earlier, they had all they could stand of listening to them run their mouths and talk about their mothers and that kind of stuff, and they came out here and let them know how easy they are not, because they are ready to fight. If that's what it's going to be, wrestle, that'll be okay too. But you can believe that PG-13 is going to be dead serious about it. Son of a gun, what a good show, huh?
Oh, it was indeed. We had a successful title defense today by Brian Christopher against Doug Gilbert. I noticed he didn't mention anything about that as he was leaving. He thought he had that match won, but he didn't.
He would have told you how he was robbed in there.
Yeah.
It was his own hot dogging that kept him actually from getting the title, because he had Christopher, after Vicious got in there and pounded down on that mat in there, he had a chance to get a 1, 2, 3. He had to do the big man stuff and waste the time and get in there, and Brian Christopher, with 1 count to go, reversed it, popped those shoulders down, and kept that title. That's a champion for you.
It certainly is, and now that allows Brian to focus on Sid Vicious. A very important match coming up with him. He mentioned that he could see that he thought Sid Vicious knew that Brian could beat him. He saw it in his eyes, and this time around, he's going to be looking to beat him and take the unified title.
David, you and I have done it again. Used up the whole time. We got to get out of here, but thank goodness we'll be back next week. So for Corey Macklin, Dave Brown, Lance Russell, bye-bye, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.